Hello everybody, this is a video about how to find the area of triangles and trapezoids. I am your fabulous host, Mr. Shirley. Please make a note as you go through this video, you might need it again later. Please put a date and title on it, and don't write the learning goal, but read the learning goal. Alright, on we go. Now, just to get you thinking about how some of the formulas were arrived at, I want you to think for a second about how you'd find the area of the red triangle. We talked last time about how you would find the area of the entire rectangle, and hopefully it's logical here as you look at it that the red triangle is equal to 1/2 of the entire rectangle. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go on to the formula for triangles and area. Okay, so the area of a triangle is the base times the height divided by 2. Okay, so the base is often the bottom, but it does not have to be, like we talked about last time. And the height goes up at right angles to the base. Okay, that's the important part. The base and the height are always at right angles to each other. Okay, so this formula can also be written in a few other ways, and I'll give them to you here because personally I use one that's slightly different than that one. So it can be written as 1/2 base times height, which is how I will usually write it, or base times height divided by 2. Okay, all three of these things mean exactly the same thing. You will get the same answer no matter which one of those you choose. So pick whichever one makes you happy. All right, so please take a moment, pause the video, and see if you can find the area of this triangle right here. Okay, I'll assume you did that. Now we've got 3 different dimensions. We would need them all if we are finding perimeter, but we're not. We only want area. So the base and height have to be at right angles to each other. Okay, so that means our base and our height are the 12 and the 5. Okay, so we're using base times height divided by 2, so 12 times 5 divided by 2, okay, which gives us 30 units squared. Okay, there's not really any particular metric unit or imperial unit of measurement on these things, so we'll just use the word units. But again, because we're finding areas, it's important that it's an exponent 2 there for squared. Okay, now when we deal with trapezoids, these are 2 examples of trapezoids, but the important part is it is a 4-sided shape with 1 pair of parallel sides. Okay, now I guess I should say at least 1 pair of parallel sides, although if all the sides, never mind. So 1 pair of parallel sides, let's stick with that. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so here's an example of a fairly regular trapezoid, but the second one is as well. So top and bottom are parallel, the other 2 sides are clearly not. Okay, now when you find the area of a trapezoid, there are certain measurements that matter. Okay, the base and the height should be getting very familiar to you right now. By this point, I mean, because if you use the formula of a parallelogram, for example, it's the same base and height, right? Triangle, same base and height, okay? But A is typically the top and B is the bottom, okay? At least as far as the base is concerned. So the B is the base and A is the other side. The C and D, the other 2 sides, don't actually matter at all for area, not even a tiny bit. Again, we would need to know them for perimeter, but we're not finding perimeter in this video. Okay, so here's the somewhat tricky looking formula, but once you use it a few times, it will start to make a certain amount of sense, I hope. So you do the top plus the bottom, remember we're adding here, and divide that number by 2. Okay, and then take that whole thing and multiply it by the height. Okay, so we're adding the top plus the bottom, and yes, I'm using top and bottom here, even though, like we discussed, they don't have to be the top and the bottom. The important part is it's the base and the side opposite the base, in whatever direction those happen to be facing. So you add them up, divide by 2, and multiply by the height. Now it's important to be careful how you type these into your calculator. Please make sure to add A and B first, get that answer, and then divide by 2. Okay? Don't just type in A plus B divided by 2 all at once into your calculator. It might give you an incorrect answer there. Okay, now this example, which I would like you to try, so pause the video, give it a go. Okay, I'll assume you did that. Now, this is an excellent example of what I mean when I say the base does not have to be the bottom. Okay, in our case here, the base is the right side and the top would be the left side. But the important part is that the height is right angles in between them. Okay, so we've got a plus b divided by 2 times height. That's the same formula. Keep in mind too, when you're using this formula, which number goes for a and which number for b doesn't actually matter at all. Okay, the key part is they're the two parallel sides. Okay, so add the parallel sides, divide by 2. And again, I know I'm not saying it, but you should be writing almost all of this down as we're going through the video. Okay, so we'll add up the two parallel sides, divide by 2 times 3.5, and very carefully, doing that, and you should end up with 12.25 centimeters squared. Okay, so please try out the work that I have included in Google Classroom, and please let me know if you do have any questions. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.